them way too late.
People are saying, hey, MAGA is not going to join the blackout September the 16th through the 20th. They're not going to join the blackout September the 17th on Constitution Day. Okay, cool, no problem. MAGA can pick up the labor for those days that we're not working and we're not spending. How about they up the ante and spend more to balance the economy out? How about they use their resources? How about they use their finances? How about they use everything that they have access to balance it out? Because I promise you, MAGA is not going to fare over $500 billion the days that we're out.
We're just absolutely, as farmers, guys, everything is so, and I do not see anybody surviving this farm crisis that we are in. Guys, look, one of the best Splorn crops that I have ever raised in my life. And because of the tariffs, China will not fucking buy it. And they are the only country in the world other than, well, they are the only country in the world that buys Splorn. And so now I'm literally just chopping it and blowing it on the ground because it's useless, it's valueless, there's nothing I can do to it. I am going to need government assistance to make it through this crisis until these tariffs end. Look, I've never raised a Splorn crop like this, guys. And this is just heartbreaking to me. I don't know how I'm going to survive. You know, Trump said he loved us farmers, and here I am just blowing my Splorn crop all over the ground. Hopefully he works a deal out where Antarctica and Mars will start buying this Splorn and save the farmers.
Arkansas
is hopeless. Trying to debate and persuade and reason with not only MAGA nuts, I'm going to include conservatives, Christian nationalists, of course, Republicans. I'm putting them all in one big homogenous blob. Rod, you are generalizing. Absolutely, yes, I am. These people have proven time and time again that they are beyond hope. They have reached a new level of delusion and insanity. And they have proven time and time again that even if they are harmed by their own ideologies, they will follow their orange Lord and Savior through the very gates of Hades, and many will, before it's all said and done. This nation has always been evil, bottom line. And foundational Black Americans, we know the truth. Everybody else can get caught up in the propaganda, like the holiday that was just celebrated the other day. But we know better, don't we? And the evil has never gone away. The soulless have now truly been unleashed to indulge in their depravity. What do you think, folks, are going on in these detention centers? What do you think? All kinds of abuses. And that concentration camp that they are calling Alligator Alcatraz, let me tell you something. Alligator, used in that context, is a loaded term. Because during chattel slavery, Black babies and children were used as alligator bait. Yes, they were. But see, many of you all don't know that because being willfully ignorant and uneducated and miseducated is a badge of honor for millions in this country. That's why we are in the mess that we're in now that was completely avoidable. That is what is so tragic about this entire situation that this nation is in. All of this was avoidable. So again, I say it's hopeless. Myself and other Black creators, we don't tolerate MAGA nuts, MAGA morons, conservative folk who try to crawl into the comment sections of our videos. Many of us, with extreme prejudice, delete their comments and block them whenever we encounter them. Because nope, I'm not wasting my precious time on this earth. And I suggest you don't either. Our time is better spent on other priorities because, again, these people, write them off. It's hopeless.
Everybody always want to be a part of something. Yes, I am Black. It's called Black MAGA, standing up for the culture. We set trends and move mountains to build this country. Well, let me tell you something, Black MAGA. White MAGA don't want your ass here. White MAGA don't want your ass here. MAGA means make America great again. When the fuck was America so great for you? When, Black MAGA? When was America great for you? Do you know how foolish you sound? Black MAGA can't do shit because it's only like 4% of you. 4% of you. Only. The rest of us is black people that use their own brain, that see shit, that know racism when we fucking see it, that know our culture is trying to be taken away when we see it, who know our history is being removed slowly as we see it. But you want to move mountains for the white supremacy, for the people that want you dead. Porch monkey. I knew it was a name for that. Porch monkey. Always had the white man back doing slavery. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I knew it was a name for that. MAGA mean make America great again. And your black ass is that.
White farmers. No one cares. It's called FAFO. You don't get to keep getting a bailout and suing when they help someone else, you know, who look like me. You don't keep getting a bailout when it is because of your actions. Let's say it all together. Hold hands, cry, whatever you need to do. But it is definitely your actions why you are now begging at the feet. I thought it was pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I thought it was my family passed this down. And now somebody from China or someone, venture capitalist, is going to have your family farm. Little Susie won't inherit a thing. Little Johnny, no. He will live in an apartment in the city. See how that works? When you dig one ditch, you always gotta dig two. Stop being foolish. And you know what I mean. It matters.
So I know I was talking about, the Latino vote before. The Viva vote for Donald Trump. Okay, well, let's get on to the white folks. The white farmers. So, word is out now that the white farmers voted for Donald Trump because they thought they were going to get black Americans in the fields. Because they also thought black folks did not have jobs. So when we put this all together, somehow the white farmers were convinced that black folks don't have jobs. We don't work. we don't work. And so they voted for Donald Trump because they thought, okay, he gonna send them in the fields. So Donald Trump and them, with that whole Project 2025, said, okay, so we got to make this happen. So we got to cut these DEI stuff, all this DEI stuff, to put black Americans out of work. When in reality, they put a bunch of white folk out of work just to get black folks out of work. And so all these cuts that are happening are to try and harm black Americans so much till they think that we're going to go into the fields. Now, when you think about that, that makes you double back and see why they want the Latinos out. Because the Latinos, right, to them, they are reproducing entirely too fast, okay? And so they're like, we got to get them out of here because Black Americans don't reproduce as fast as the Latinos. And so if we could get them out, then the Black Americans can take their place in the field. This is for real. And so now you double back to the black jobs. They're taking your job. Yes, you got to double back to what he said. They're taking black jobs, y'all. Like, they have all this down. Like, they have all this whole circle. So now let's go back to the farmers, if you're still with me, okay? Because the white farmers, that's what they believed was going to happen. So if y'all got all that straight, this is the message to the white farmers. The last thing you want is for Black Americans to be in your fields. Don't let the devil fool you. As a matter of fact, you might want to let the devil fool you to see what's going to happen. Well, I'm trying to tell you, the last thing you ever going to want is Black Americans in your fields. Nah, I'm going to let you fill in the blank on that one. And this goes to show that they will go to any lengths. Remember I said that, first of all, we had the Latinos, some Latinos, not all of them, just them Cuban ones, talk about you're next, right? To Black Americans. So they thought we was immigrants, okay? And so now we have the white farmers who are still living in the 1700s, thinking back to glory days, quote unquote. They thought with their vote, we were going to the fields. So you got one group thinking they gonna kick us out of here, and you got another group of people thinking that we going to the fields. Now this right here is a real mental problem, because people are literally stuck. I'm telling y'all, people are stuck in the 1700s when they think about Black Americans, okay? I'm telling you, their thought process, they sit around probably campgrounds and picnics and stuff and talk about how can we make this happen? That was their heyday. I'm telling you, when that freaking plantation house burned down in Louisiana, I think, right? That was their heyday. Now, I'm trying to tell you, that was their heyday. When that plantation house down in Louisiana got torched, okay? I'm telling you, that broke them. But I just want to, I want to teach them a little.
One of the things that I'm really enjoying right now is the farmers talking about losing their farm and how they voted for Donald Trump, and they really feel betrayed and they feel upset. And I'll just be in the bed rubbing my feet together like, yes, I hope y'all lose it. I want y'all to lose everything, because y'all wanted us to lose everything. Y'all thought that Black people, brown people, gay people, Hispanic people, just whoever was just going to be eating their words and just going to be miserable and upset and hurt. And look who it is. Look who the chickens have come home to roost, according to Malcolm X. Because, honey, these farmers are in peril. They're talking about losing generations worth of farms. Y'all have gotten so many government subsidies that the Black farmers couldn't get. Y'all got so many loans and so many bailouts and so much help from the government that the Black farmers were not eligible for. And y'all been surviving off of it, but you voted against that because you act like only Black people get benefits. And when you tell yourself delusional lies and then you have faced with the truth, it stings. It hurts. Y'all talking about ending it all. Y'all want to jump off the nearest tractor. And guess what? Do it. I think you should, because as a matter of fact, you did this to yourself. And when you thought you were hurting Black people, that's just like the white people who didn't know that the food stamps that they were receiving were the same SNAP benefits that they wanted to get taken away from Black people, and were shocked to realize that they too were getting those benefits. And as a matter of fact, they were the large majority of the recipients of those benefits. And somehow they thought it would only impact Black people. And who's supposed to be the dumb ones here? Because why would you think that? It said SNAP right on the letter that you receive monthly. And I can't understand why you would have thought that they were only Black food stamps when you were feeding your child with them every month. And then for those mothers of the special needs autistic children,
who are getting all kind of programs and therapies for their child and are surprised and shocked that Donald Trump has canceled those funds and that government assistance that was helping to give their child the therapies and stuff that they needed. They're upset. And I just can't understand what you guys thought was going to happen when your racism led the charge, and now you're surprised that the chickens have come home to roost. They're orange chickens, very large, orange, obese chickens with a comb over have come home to roost, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. And farmers, you especially, I'm really enjoying your content. Keep on putting out the videos of y'all crying, and I'm just gonna rub my feet too.
So there's a video out there that's gone very viral, and it's this guy, and he puts together a good video, and he says, Oklahoma, all the counties went to Trump. They're 44th in education, 49th in healthcare, 44th in quality of life, and 50th in test scores. But Massachusetts, all the counties went to Harris. They are first in education, second in healthcare, first in quality of life, and first in test scores. And he uses this as a reason for why you should vote for Democrats. And I'm not disagreeing with him. But if you're using that logic to reach the Christian nationalists, honey, that isn't going to work. That logic will work with educated people, right? That logic will work with people who want their children to go to college and go off on their own and be, a success somewhere. The people who live in Oklahoma who vote for Trump don't care about any of that. The only reason their kids go to school is because it's a fucking requirement. And they send them, so their kids are either getting watched and it gives mom some free time, or two, so they don't go to jail. They want their daughters married off young, mothering children very quickly to men who are barely men, but who have a promising career in planting fucking tomatoes or whatever, or corn or soybeans or whatever it is. These people care zilch about education. They care zilch about quality of life because their quality of life is not important. It's that bootstraps mentality, friends. If you want to reach a maggot, the only way that happens is in their pocketbook, their bank account. So when they start seeing their farms that belong to their family for generations get boarded up and padlocked, then they'll start perhaps seeing that they voted the wrong way. And you're starting to see these farmers come out and stupidly press record and start pointing the finger at us damn liberals for not wanting their farms to succeed, and not pointing the finger at the man who took away the grants or the corporate AG who's drooling, salivating at buying up their land, or at Vance, who owns a company that buys up land so they could parcel it off to Russia and China. No, they want to point the fingers at us for going, you get what you vote for. So don't come knocking on my door, friend, if you need a place to sleep. I'll be making up my bed for an immigrant or, well, anyone who isn't a Nazi like you.
4 years ago, they were crying because they couldn't afford their student loans. It's kind of strange, because if you're an expert in finance and you got college educated on finance, wouldn't you think you could take care of your finances in your own house?
I don't know. Shouldn't you be able to handle your own finances without constantly relying on Dems to give you handouts and bail you out? Recognize this guy? This is a perfect example of why people make FAFO content. This is a perfect example of why regret is not the same as redemption. You may remember this guy from a video where he was crying about losing his farm because he spent a bunch of money he didn't have because he was banking on receiving certain subsidies that he was promised thanks to the Biden admin. And then when Trump got into office, the guy he wanted, and put a freeze on all the aid that was going out, including the aid going to American farmers like himself, he suddenly had a problem with the whole endeavor. People, of course, understandably dragged him, made a bunch of FAFO content, and then he came out and asked people to stop, kicking him while he was down, that he was here to listen and to learn, and that he didn't know about all this Project 2025 stuff. He'd had the wool pulled over his eyes. But now he's in pain. He's afraid for his farm. He's willing to hear people out. In fact, it sparked a conversation where people were saying, let's embrace these people who are regretting their choices and let's speak to them because clearly they want to learn. I'm not going to say that everyone who has regrets doesn't want to learn. What I'm saying is that having regrets does not mean that someone has learned. Having regrets about doing something that would harm a lot of people simply because you're now being harmed That's not a lesson. You're still operating completely out of self-interest. You have not learned anything. So what happened? Well, a bunch of people who have been pushing against this administration and all the havoc it has been wreaking, all the destruction it is causing, sued the admin over those frozen funds and successfully got those funds unfrozen, at least temporarily. So this learning and listening farmer got his funds released. Now he's fine. What do you think? Did he learn a lesson? Nope. He's now back to going after everyone else. He's now back to not listening to people when they're explaining how tariffs are going to harm the economy. For example, he's now making fun of people who took out student loans. If they're bad with their finances, what are you, dude? What are you? What is your farm if it cannot exist or survive without Dems bailing it out all the time? Yeah, when things get bad for you again, no one's going to be fooled when you claim to be listening and learning. Next time it's time for you to find something out, we're going to know. If you're not out there like working to undo the harm that you caused, I'm sorry. Your regret is not redemption.
CBS did an interview with farmers, YT farmers, and they were up there crying, boo-hooing, mad because they're not getting any loans, any resources, any grants, anything from Donald Trump. And Trump said he will help them. They don't know what to do, and they are so frustrated. We don't care. The overwhelming majority of farmers voted for Donald Trump and the Republicans. You voted for this mess. So guess what? You're not going to get any grants. You're not going to get any loans. You're not going to get any help. You're not going to get any charity. I bet you miss Biden now, because under Biden, you got grants, loans, help, charity, everything you needed. Donald Trump doesn't care about you. So we don't care about you farmers coming on national TV, world television on 60 Minutes, crying and acting bad. You shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't have voted for Republicans. You voted against your interests. So when you lose your homes, your rents, rental equipment, your farmland, we don't care, because you didn't care about us. You didn't care about America. You cared about yourselves, and you voted the wrong way.
Hey, you know, one more thing about that farm thing. Those farmers complaining about how the Trump's trade war is hurting farms. And not just China, even though China no longer buys U.S. beef, that's gone to Brazil. They no longer buy U.S. soybeans. They don't buy a bunch of other agricultural products from us because they can source them elsewhere. And these farmers are all over these apps whining and crying that they didn't think it would hurt them. And please, Mr. Trump, I voted for you 3 times, and all this kind of bootlicking kind of BS. The other thing about that is, like I said in my other video, excuse me, there's a particular relationship, black people and farms in this country, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. The other thing is, do you remember during the Biden-Harris administration, their administration worked out a settlement with black farmers to pay them back pay for excluding them from bailout money that they were entitled to. The money only went to white farmers, and so black farmers, that's the way it is in this country, had to sue to get their fair share, and after years of court wrangling in the courts and everything, it was finally settled and black farmers were going to get their due. Sorry, my allergies. And you know why they didn't get their due? Sorry about that. Because white farmers sued to block the government settlement that they had made with black farmers. And white farmers sued saying that the white farmers, were being discriminated against for not getting some of the black settlement money. The black settlement money was because only white farmers got some of the initial bailout money, not black farmers. That's how twisted it is. So to the white farmers online whining about loss of business, threats to having their farms shut down and shut off, I say, fare thee well, good sirs. Fare thee well. You got what you got. You get what you get. You don't pitch a fit. You voted for Donald Trump, and you know what? He is working you over because the big conglomerates, some I hear I've read are owned by J.D. Vance or his companies, are about to buy up your land for pennies on the dollar. And you're going to be one picking those blueberries for $11 an hour, 7 days a week, for 10 hours a day. Literally, how you like them apples?
Nebraskans are pissed. Bigley, Askins, the Askins are pissed. Nebraskans. No one wants to hear Farmer John with his butt crack showing, married to a Karen, complaining about losing your little farm. When you voted for me, they don't feel sorry for you. And I don't need your votes anymore, so I don't care. Bigley. Nebraskans, what did you think was going to happen? If all your workers were Mexicans and we got rid of all the Mexicans, who's going to be your workers? Guess what? You can take a page from the book of the Native Americans, followed by the African Americans, Chinese Americans, Indian Americans. Listen, what we're going to do is crash the economy so all the rich people can buy up everything for super dirt cheap, including your land, Nebraska farmer dude. I don't know. And once we buy it for dirt cheap, we will hire you to work on said land. Hello, this is a tale as old as time. We've done it so many times before. And the fact that you thought you were exempt is absolutely hilarious. Bigley, it's funny because you guys are really effing around and finding out. Decided to put a little pause on the tariff situation. Canada had a problem and we came in and helped them solve it. They had a problem that there were tariffs that they could not pay. And I said, I will be your savior. I will take the tariffs away. You're welcome. Thank you. Nebraska, I've actually sold Nebraska to Vladimir Putin. And we know I like to say Putin. That's my friend. In exchange for 2 new mail order brides that should be here by Thursday. One of them's gonna come with me into my forever cryo chamber where I will live in infamy and be the president of the United States for the rest of existence and time. Bigley, we're doing very well with Russia. Russia's really enjoying us and we're really enjoying Russia, and they're bombing the hell out of Ukraine right now. And I don't like the Ukraine guy because that guy is tan and he's kind of sexy. I'm not gonna lie, and I don't like that about him. Vladimir Putin is much more pale. He makes me look shiny and orange. And that's the kind of leadership that I really look up to. Bigley, I do. We're having a good time. Everyone's having a good time this pregnancy, and you guys keep trying to come and interfere with your world news and your disasters. We like a good disaster. It's good for the millionaires and billionaires because we can buy up everything dirt cheap.